guys, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Apex Predator Billiards Training Club. My name is Apex Selenio and I will be taking you on a journey to becoming a professional pool player. Moreover, I'll be taking you on my journey to becoming that professional pool player that I've always aspired to be. Now, I've been playing pool for a little bit over 10 years, and throughout all this time period, I have learned many skills, I've learned many knowledge from many different players by entering many different tournaments. Now, if you are a new player or you are currently an existing player wanting to improve your game, learn more knowledge from a Jamaican, not a problem. This is the channel for you. So if this is your first time here on the channel, consider subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notification bell, and of course, dropping a like on the video if this content is of any use to you. Alright, so in today's lesson, we're going to be talking about the stroke. The stroke, which is an important component of a pool player's game. The stroke consists of many components, and the components are what we're going to be going through in today's lesson. So let's begin this journey. Alright guys, so what is the stroke and how can we develop a good stroke as a pool player? In order for us to develop a good stroke, we have to have good fundamentals. Good fundamentals. Good fundamentals. And good fundamentals include 5 different components. These 5 components are what I consider to be a part of the stroke. Now the stroke consists of a firm bridge, and this is where you place your hand on the pool table. There are different types of bridge. Of course, we have the open bridge, we have the closed bridge, and we have the rail bridge. And there are going to be scenarios on the table where, of course, you have to create some sort of unorthodox bridge. But the whole lesson today is mainly about understanding what is the stroke and how can you develop a better or develop a very good stroke that can be a weapon for you in your game against all players. The bridge is the very first thing that I really want to talk about, and I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the stroke, about the bridge, my apologies. So the bridge is where you place your hand on the table and it needs to be very stable. It cannot be wobbly. It cannot be to the side. It cannot be standing on your fingers like this. It has to be firmly placed on the table, whether you're using the open bridge or the closed bridge. And so the bridge is that section of your hand where you place the cue stick so that the cue stick can go through smoothly, back and forward. There are going to be videos in the future where I'm going to be talking a little bit about the bridge, the breakdown, how these bridges are made, and when they are used. But for now, number 1 component is the bridge. The second component that I want to talk about as it relates to the stroke is your grip. Your grip also is a very important component. And so, as a pool player, we are advised that we should have somewhat of a loose grip or moderately loose grip. We should not hold the cue in such a way that we are choking the cue. The cue needs freedom so that it can go back and forward freely. We should not have our arms around the cue that makes the cue seem as if it's being strangled. It has to have that freedom to go back and forth like a natural pendulum. Now, there are different kind of players that will use different ways of holding the cue. Some players will hold the cue with 3 fingers, letting 1 finger to the side like this. There are other players that will hold the cue really loosely, but at the same time, it seems as if they're holding the entire cue with their hand, but in fact, it's only been held with 3, and one of the fingers here is a bit loose. Like I said, the grip is your own way of holding the cue, but important element is that the grip should not be tight. There are going to be cases where upon impact with the cue ball accelerating through, you may have to tighten the cue a little bit so that the cue does not fall out of your hand. However, the main aim is to make sure that your grip is loose or moderately loose. third component of the stroke that I want to talk about is, of course, your follow through. Your follow through is where you accelerate the cue through the position of the cue ball. Wherever the cue ball is, then your job is to ensure that upon impact, the cue stick does not stop where the position of the cue is. For example, if I'm to play this one ball straight into the pocket, then I always want some sort of extension through the cue ball. So the cue ball's position is here. I want my follow through to be about 4 to 6 inches, or give or take, you just want to make sure that it's about 2 or 3 inches away from the original spot from the cue ball. This is exactly how you want to do it. Now, what does the follow through do? Why is it necessary? The follow through is necessary because that's what gives you the rotation on the cue ball. Hitting the cue ball on the low or hitting the cue ball high gives forward rotation or backwards rotation. And depending on how much rotation you want, depending on how far the object ball is away from the cue ball, then that will determine how much follow through you give. But at all times, or if not most times, you need to make sure that there is going to be a follow through. Of course, there are going to be videos in the future where I'm going to be talking about how to develop a better follow through. So do look out for that. But for now, ensure that you work on your follow through. Another component of the stroke that I want to talk about is, of course, keeping your head down after every shot. Now, there is not a time frame in which you should keep your head down, but in fact, I recommend that you should keep your head down for at least 2 to 3 seconds after each shot. Now, does keeping your head down allow you to have a better stroke? No. Does keeping your head down ensure that the shot is always going to go into the pocket? No. Keeping your head down, for me, is what keeps you calm under pressure, and it also allows you to keep in line with your stroke. You will know if you miss a shot to the right or to the left of the pocket. You can know if you're applying unwanted side spin or if it is that maybe you did not stroke it properly. So you have to stay in tune with your stroke even if you're doing practice or you're playing a match, because now and again adjustments will be necessary. Adjustments has to be made during a game depending on how you're feeling in the match. So very important, guys, that you keep your head down after every shot, approximately 2 to 3 seconds. Finally, the final component, which is of course the stance. Now, I've saved the most important aspect of the pool stroke for last. Why? Because usually this is the part that a lot of players think they can overlook. The stance is what allows everything else to work. The grip, the follow through, keeping the head down, keeping still, all these things are exactly what will work only if you have a stable stance. Now I'm going to go around this side here and just kind of do a little bit of demonstration for you as to how the stance is made. Alright, so the stance, of course, is what I refer to as the most, or should be the most stable part of your stroke. It is where you set your body up in order to execute the shot. Now, for you to understand a little bit more about the stroke, or to understand a little bit more about the stance, my apologies, is to understand that in your mind as a pool player, all shots are straight, whether it be a cut shot or whether it be just a regular straight in shot. And all shots are created by drawing an imaginary line in your mind from the cue ball to the object ball to the pocket. That imaginary line is automatic for existing players or even advanced players. Now, that line, that imaginary line that you have drawn should be extended off the table, and you have to keep that imaginary line in your mind. It is this line that we have created that's where you're going to be building your stance around. So that line here for me on this one ball, let's set it up. I have extended the line of the table here. So it is this part of the line that I'm going to be creating my stance. Now I'm a right-handed player, so of course I'm going to be standing on the left side of this imaginary shooting line. Now, once I have that line, I'm now going to take my right leg and I'm going to place it on the tip of the line on the left side. Now, I do not place my foot over the line. I do not place it too far left of the line because I'm going to be a little bit awkward. Now, if you place it too far on the right, you're going to be standing more like over the shot, straight in like this. Now, whilst this may seem correct, you can see that you're going to have the cue hitting your body upon impact with the cue ball and the object ball. So you do not want any unforced connection with your cue. Your cue should be going through without any interruption. So this is not recommended. You cannot have your feet too far left because you'll be lean. You'll be like this, and this looks really weird. So you're not really facing the shot. You're kind of just leaning. So that's not recommended. So what's really recommended is to ensure that when you see that imaginary line, you're going to place your right leg on that line to the right, or to the left, I'm sorry, and then you're going to step into the shot, more like a sideways motion like this. I'm a little bit close to the table, right? And it also depends on your build, whether you're very tall or you're very short. I am 5'2", so I'm a little bit below average height. So let's demonstrate here. I have my shooting line here. I place my right leg at approximately 45 degrees on the tip of the shooting line on the left, and I step into the shot with my left leg. I try to make sure that I have some sort of room away from my body and the table. So right here, and I step into the shot. Now, all other components are valuable here. So having a stable bridge, remembering to follow through, keeping your head down, and execute. And most importantly, you should do not ever forget to chalk. It looks very silly when you have a very easy straight-in shot and you snap. So you always have to ensure that you need to chalk. So now I'm going to execute a very easy straight-in shot. Step on the line, 45 degrees, step into the shot. Right? I have to shuffle a little bit because I'm a bit close to the table. I place my bridge hand down. I try to make sure that my arms are approximately at 90 degrees to the cue. Here, and I have a natural pendulum swing. So there you can see I have a very stable bridge. I'm doing some backward motion. This is called my backswing. That's called my forward swing. Backswing, forward swing. This is what I use to check to see if I'm hitting the cue ball where I really want to hit it. Okay? So we're going to be talking about different aspects of the stroke, such as the backswing and the forward swing, what length should it be, what speed should it be, and all that kind of stuff. But for now, we just want to know what are the main components of the stroke. So now here I have backswing here, and I extend. There you can see that wherever the cue ball was, I've extended my cue past that position. And this is the same thing for all shots. So it doesn't matter if the shot is very easy, like what I just did, or it's a very long shot, somewhat of a long shot, maybe a straight-in shot for the 6. Hopefully I do not miss. I won't miss. And I have this 6, I build my stance, and I extend my cue through the position of the cue ball. Alright? So pretty much that's what you need to know about the stroke. The stroke has these 5 components. You need to spend some time on the table looking at these elements, working on them, whether you're a new player. Now, if you're an advanced player or an intermediate player, more than likely most of these things will be automatic. But maybe there are flaws in your stroke which you need to work on, and of course I'm going to be having a video based on a stroke drill that I used to do many years ago when I wanted to develop a better stroke. Now guys, if this is your first time here on the channel, of course, feel free to subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notification bell, drop a like if any of this information was of value to you. Work on your game and become a better pool player. Thank you for joining Apex Predator Billiards. I'll see you in lesson number 2.